Identity and instructions on how that identity operates. This is a working concept that I've been coming up with for a couple of years now, and I want to share it. I think this is really applicable to people that get out of the service, and it can kind of pinpoint or highlight why things seem so difficult internally. Welcome back to Uncivilized Rebirth. I'm glad you are here. If you like this channel, please subscribe. I'm trying to grow it because I really want to get this message out to the people that need to hear it. So, identity. When we join the military, we have an ego that's created, or a different version of us. And we know this because we go back and visit our old family or friends, and they say, "You've changed so much. You're so different. You don't even act the same." That's because we got programmed. We changed. External stimuli created this new pattern of behavior inside of us. And so we live in this new identity. The uniform can trigger it. Validation can trigger it. Our speech patterns, our thought patterns, all of that changes tremendously. And so now we have the ego of a soldier, whether that's in the Air Force, Marines, Army, Navy, National Guard, Space Force. You have the ego of a different personality. And that serves you very well because they need a cog in the machine that is going to behave in a certain manner without supervision. It needs to be something that's like, okay, here's this group out here of cogs, and we give them these instructions. They are going to perform and do these things. That is what is needed. And it works very well for a huge, large machine. So you have a base level of what all the cogs need to do, and then you have advanced placement for those cogs, what their skill is going to be. You get out. You come back in the civilian world, and things may not be what you expect them to be. Okay, so life has changed. Your hometown has changed. You may be moving to a new town and trying to start a career. But the real internal battle, I won't call it a battle, the internal shift is not knowing who you are anymore. Sometimes because you no longer have the uniform. And it's not just that, it's you're not needed to act in that identity. So then you're trying to figure out, what role do I play? Some people will revert back to the identity they had before they joined the military. And that has its whole set of instructions as well. You'll see where I'm going with this. So you may revert back to that version of you, feeling lost, no direction in life before the military, and now it's after the military and you're feeling that again. So if you felt that before the military, and then you got that direction during the military, you're going to feel that loss again when you lose it if you've never been able to set your internal compass to head in a direction in life that you want to go. So we have now two competing identities. One you feel the loss of, and civilians don't want it. Let's say you're infantry, or you were a ranger, or one of these jobs that require you to be more aggressive. And yes, a lot of the military can have really dark humor as well, and a behavior that's very present, a hard target. And civilians don't like that, so you try to turn that side of you off. So now you're, in essence, trying to play a new role and to hide a part of who you are. Is that part of who you are, or is it just skills that you could pull on? It's a new way to look at it. So when you are trying to either operate in a new identity or you go back to your old identity, you're no longer pulling up the instructions needed to operate the identity of a soldier. So let's say a soldier, you get up, you make your barracks room, wherever you live, you go get gear, you go to the field, you speak a certain way, you see a certain thing, hear a certain thing, and you do a certain thing because you've been programmed. That is triggered by the identity that you're in. So stimuli comes in, it's like, what identity? Then where do I go to pull the information that this identity operates in? So what I believe is that there is a code in the operating orders attached to the identity. So if you're operating in the soldier identity, you see a certain stimuli, there's a code that retrieves this action that is aligned with the stimuli, and then it's performed. Same with the civilian world. If you come back and you're operating that old identity, and you see something, or you hear something, or a family member, something from the past that's a stimuli, and then it's a behavior that you would never do as a soldier. You would not. But since that identity has been resurfaced and it has a code to an old program, it pulls that up and acts out. It could be crashing out. It could be going to drink. It could be many, many different actions or behaviors. And again, when you're in the identity of before the service and you put it back on, you would never do certain things that you would do in that other identity. So here is what I propose, is that you look at the skills and abilities and speech and thought patterns as skills for this human machine. And it doesn't matter what identity you're operating in, you can pull any of those skills when you need them. And to do this, you need to create your own identity of who do I want to be. And then allow yourself to be able to access all of those old skills and abilities, or consciously choose what you don't want to use and old things that you don't want to bring to surface to act out. So when you do this, you start seeing yourself as the operator of this human machine and controlling what identity is being used. Or not necessarily that. It's like, yeah, it's that. So like, what identity is being used and what skills are being accessed inadvertently, because you can be triggered. In the military, you're trained to be triggered. It's like you work under stress. So then that way, when you're in a stressful environment, you automatically go back to the lowest or the highest. You revert to the highest level of your training. So you train to do one certain thing. You hear a certain stimuli, and then you do that. Well, you can control that. You can control whether you do those things, even if you hear that stimuli. Because that stimuli is going through that filter of the identity, and then the identity code is searching for the program that is in alignment with this trigger and then pulls it up and is conducted. And again, when you create your identity, then you're actively choosing the external stimuli. Of like, that happens, and then it's like null and void. It like goes to the identity, and it's like, there's no resource, there's no code on all of this old programming. And it's like, nothing's happening. Then you can go and be like, okay, I will do this. And you act out in that way. Now, I don't mean act out in a bad way, but you conduct yourself in the manner which is needed at that time. And it goes even deeper. And I'll get into emotions and purpose and alignment in the next video, most likely. I hope this is something that gives you pause and something to think about. I'm done. Roadhouse, Spiritual Hard.